Hey there, restaurant pros. It's Dave Scott Peters, and welcome to episode 40 of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. I've been coaching restaurant owners since 2003, and the Restaurant Prosperity Formula is based on what the most successful restaurant owners I've worked with do on a daily basis to achieve their success. The basic premise of the formula centers around achieving prosperity, freedom for your restaurant, and the financial freedom you deserve. To achieve prosperity, you have to follow a very specific formula made up of leadership, systems, training, accountability, and taking action. Today's topic centers around the importance of having great managers. I'm going to share with you some of the highlights of what we discussed at my Mastermind meeting, my Mastery Plus meeting in Las Vegas, Nevada, a couple weeks ago, with 27 restaurant owners and managers around a table diving deep into this topic over 2 days. Let's get started. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode is being brought to you by Repeat Returns. If you're a restaurant owner of a medium to high volume independent restaurant, multi-unit or franchise operator, and you're looking for a proven and realistic solution to attract, grow, and retain customers, then you need to visit Repeat Returns. Repeat Returns is a modern marketing platform created by a restaurant owner for restaurant owners. It studies each customer's habits and patterns, predicts the most profitable outcome for your restaurant every single day, and deploys the marketing to make that happen. You'll never lift a finger. To see if Repeat Returns is right for you, visit repeatreturns.com/DSP. Hey, restaurant pros. I want to remind you that your success hinges on having a management team in place that knows what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when. One step above that is you have to be willing to hold them accountable. In other words, you have to lead your management team, cultivate, coach, and correct your management team. And you will only be successful if your management team does their job on a daily basis to your standards. And the key to all that is creating a culture in your restaurant where your managers feel appreciated. They feel a part of the team, and they are clear on what is expected of them. In most instances, this is not a reality for many restaurant owners and managers. I want to first talk about what life looks like when you either don't have managers in place at all, or when you have managers who really you've not given them the tools, training, or set up the expectations for them, like they don't know what their job really is. So if you've got no managers in place, let's start with that. Your reality may be you're a prisoner to your business. Like you're the only one who can write a schedule, place an order, do anything in your business. You're it. So you can't leave. Often with no managers, you find yourself with a fixed mindset that all these challenges that come our way, from COVID business restrictions to shortages on product to rising prices, incredibly high minimum wages and wages that are going up all the time, the labor shortage, all these things are something to blame. Blame someone else other than you. Because these are the things, if these things were fixed around me, well, my life would be better. And if you've got no managers in place, your business can only grow if you have time. Because again, you're the only one who can do it. You're the only one who can market. You're the only one who can hire, fire, train, do anything in your business. Now, what if you have managers, but they're really not doing the job you want them to do because you've not taken the time to train them what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when. But you've got these bodies, these people we call managers, but not clearly understanding what those expectations are. Well, nothing gets done. You simply ask them to do something and you get nothing but excuses of why things don't happen. Well, what else? You probably have high turnover throughout your restaurant because you've got low morale. See, when you've got managers who don't know what their job is, and you're thinking you're holding them accountable, which is maybe just kind of riding them a little bit, but they don't know what they're being held accountable for, they're going to do the same thing to your team members. They're going to have favorites. They're going to get away with whatever they can to get through a shift, making management inconsistent. And some people get away with murder, some people work real hard, and somewhere in between. And depending on where you are, if you're on the low end of that spectrum, you have low morale, so you don't want to work here. When you've got these managers who don't know their expectations, you probably have crappy online reviews. Does not matter, pick a site, because they're allowing people to leave your business with a problem. See, if you work for me, I want to know that you had a problem, right? I want my managers to know that a customer had a problem right then and there because I have an opportunity to fix it. but there's no interest in doing that. Oh, those people. You're probably still a prisoner. You've got managers who think, I've been told if I put managers in place, it'll free me up. Well, it can if you have the right systems in place and you're leading them. But if you just kind of have them and you're still doing everything yourself, you're still a prisoner. And last but not least, you're probably not making the money you deserve. You might be profitable. You might be getting by, and you might be just paying yourself a salary. But the fact of the matter is, when you're focused on doing everyone else's job, you can't focus on leading the business. So if you find yourself in either of these situations, or maybe you've got a good management team in place, but you kind of want a reminder, I'm going to remind you of something. You selected them, you trained them, and you manage them. They're a direct reflection of you and your leadership challenges or successes for that matter. So let me share with you a little bit about a meeting that I had. Okay, I've got a mastermind group, and it's called my Mastery Plus group. This is a group of restaurant owners that have been through my program, whether my past company or current, and they want to be a part of a group of other restaurant owners who are willing to share, willing to help each other, to share their challenges, be open and honest, take feedback, and go home and make change in their business. These are people who have a growth mindset that, yes, they have all these challenges coming at them just like you do, but they don't see them as stoppers of their business. Instead, they're challenges they need to outlearn, outsmart, outspend, get around them, because nothing is going to stop them. So it's an incredible group of people. We held the Mastery Plus meeting in Las Vegas, as we always do. We do it 3 times a year. And when I'm recording this, it was really just a couple weeks ago that we had the meeting. Now I want you to picture a room. I want you to picture all these tables that are set up in a rectangle so that you can see each other. Well, there was 27 people around this table. These are restaurant owners, they're implementers, general managers, chefs, people who truly want to take their business to the next level. Imagine investing on taking your chef or your general manager with you to a meeting, a mastermind meeting, to learn. And the topic was all about managers. The whole 2-day meeting was about management. And so I want you to imagine, we spent 2 days, almost 11 hours specifically, and only talking about restaurant managers. We covered a ton of topics, what I'm going to share with you in just a second. And the meeting was actually amazing because as we talked about something, it allowed for conversation around the room, brought up questions, brought up different ideas, different softwares people were using to make managing managers easier and communicating easier. And it was just really amazing. And in fact, I think the first 2 bullets there were 4 pages of notes that I gave them. The first 2 bullets we spent 4 hours on alone. So imagine a lively conversation of restaurant owners and managers just like you. And I'm going to tell you right now, everyone came away from the meeting with a ton of notes, with actionable items on their to-do list to improve their management team, how they manage their managers, how they get more out of their business. Because again, they realize after spending that time together that their success is truly tied to their manager's success. And we covered a lot during our meeting talking about management from A to Z. This round table was truly lively. Where I normally, I tend to teach, and then we might talk about it. It was truly give and take. And there were main points that we covered in the notes. Again, there were 4 pages of bullet points that I'd already provided our members before we started. It was kind of our outline for what we're doing instead of using PowerPoint as the main guide. We talked about scheduling management. We talked about management duties, training the team, managing the floor, cash controls, executing on budget, people management, becoming an employer of choice, and your expectations you have for your management team. So there was really not a topic that was not covered. And there were things that were not on that list that were covered because obviously it is such a large topic. What I'm going to do with you right now is I'm going to share with you a few highlights of what we talked about and things I want you to think about. Things that might be ahas and actionable items for you. I certainly can't go through 11 hours of detail, but I can give you some highlights. Number one, when it comes to your management team, you need dedicated managers / supervisors. I don't care if they're MIT's, hourly shift supervisors, key employees. It does not matter to me what they are. You must have somebody in charge every shift. If you're a full service restaurant, preferences is plain clothes. If you're a quick service system, we know the managers are going to be working the rushes, but they're going to be managing on the off hours, not managing a register or a telephone or the line. Number two, your managers must be trained and able to complete daily tasks from Restaurant 101 and daily checklists to back of house line checks and the prep system. Doesn't matter if they're front of house or back of house. They need to understand your system, your process, your way for running your shifts, opening and closing each shift. Again, that's not only making sure the money goes out in the drawer, but it gets back into the bank safely. It's not only making sure the restaurant opens up, but that everything's in the right place, clean as can be, set up for success, and that every shift you execute ready for a busy day. It's making sure that the end of the shift, end of day, you're filling out things like manager logs, your DSR tracker, your invoice log, paid out tracker, your restaurant checkbook guardian, your scheduling on budget, controlling labor. Like there are all these tasks that your managers must know how to do. Number three, you must have training systems in place from position training to pre-shift because training happens every day. This is one of the big lessons to truly understand that we don't train somebody once and they got it. You may have training for a brand new menu, a new piece of equipment, a retraining because somebody's doing something wrong. You understand, training is ongoing, and pre-shift can be one of those things that you train on a daily basis. Number four, your managers need to learn when it's appropriate to do the task, assist with the task, or command that it gets done. See, all too often, restaurant managers, we come from line employees. I moved my way up through the ranks. I've done just about every job you could imagine. But when I was found my way back in the restaurant business, I was a bartender. And next thing you know, I was a bar manager. Next thing you know, I'm a front of house manager. Next thing you know, we're busy as hell. I'm the best server, host, busser, food runner, bar back at the same time than anybody else. Because I was like, I'm going to show you by leading by example. And I eventually learned that I was the one who was sweating my ass off, working my ass off, enabling people to do nothing. But there is a time that when your ass is being handed to you, so you're in the weeds, that you as a manager, you go do the task. Let's go. I'm going to clear table 22. But there's a time when you grab a busser and say, hey, come with me. Let's start on table 22. You do some of it and you leave them when they're ready to go. And there are times where it's just, you've got bigger fish to fry and you got to go to the busser and say, get table 22. I need it. We've got a 4-top waiting to be seated right now. So that balance, that's not all lead by example. While that is important, it cannot be the only way you run. Otherwise, you're the best line employee you have. Number 5, your managers need to ensure that every penny makes it to the bank every day. So do you have those financial systems in place to make sure we count out a server if you're a full service restaurant, when server checkout comes in, that when bartenders give you the drawer, that they can't give it to you, you are the only one that can take it out. They can't even run their server report. And you've got a step-by-step process to make sure every penny is there, that your servers are even or over, your bartenders are within $5 over under per set of hands in a drawer, that the master bank is accurate, that if you have a petty cash drawer, that's accurate, that your deposit is accurate and it makes it to the bank. Your managers are critical to that. Number 6, your managers, they're going to ensure that you're ordering and scheduling on budget. The key word here is budget. You as the leader need to have a budget, your plan for success. And you've got to have these systems in place that we can give up ordering without giving up our checkbook. Hey, you can spend this much on your next order based on putting all that data in we've already talked about. It can predict how much money you can spend. And oh, by the way, you can spend up to $500 more than that number. 1 penny over, you cannot place the order without asking me for permission. All of a sudden, you can give up the task and retain control of your checkbook. that we're scheduling on budget, that we tell our managers not only how many dollars they have, but how many hours by position to go into next week on budget. Because budgeting is a proactive management tool. Instead of rear view mirroring it and looking backwards, oh, last week you're over budget, or, crazy. Instead, during the week, we can see where we hit or miss and make small changes through the rest of the week to end the week on budget. I need my managers to do that. Number 7, your managers will make sure all the equipment is in good working order. So do you have a system where you've got a sheet on every piece of equipment, from who you got it from, when you got it from them, the phone number, serial number, right? Wherever parts are, where you order them from, when the last time you had it serviced, when the next service is due. All that information so that you can keep up on the equipment, that we don't get to a point where one morning we walk in and the walk-in cooler went down and nobody paid attention through the day before and we're throwing away $3,000 in product. Instead, we can see it. We can proactively manage that equipment to get the most out of it, to maintain it. Again, notice proactive management. That's the whole part that I need from my management team. Got to give them the training and the tools to do that. Number 8, your managers will do everything in their power to ensure your restaurant is an employer of choice. So you've got to understand where pay rates are in your neighborhood. You've got to make sure there's management consistent on the floor, that their people are appreciated, that they feel like they're a part of something bigger. There's great training, that there's flexibility, right? We can no longer treat people like crap in our industry. And your managers, they're the ones who represent you and they set the tone for your culture of your business. They're the ones that ultimately have high turnover or low turnover based on how they manage on a day-to-day basis. So they've got to keep in the back of their brain, we're going to be an employer of choice because it's competitive out there. So I've got to attract you. This has got to be a place you want to work. And when you get here, you want to stay. Number 9, your managers, well, they need to understand that they're supposed to create a plan to increase sales. They need to increase sales. They can no longer just accept that people walk in the door and whatever you do. Are they getting out there and four-wall marketing? Are they creating events? Are they creating server contests? Are they going out and getting catering jobs? What are they doing to increase sales? Now, those are just 9 highlights from a 2-day meeting of over 11 hours of talking specifically and only about managers. And while that's just a snapshot, I want to give you some actionable items that you can execute on in your restaurant to start down the path of having a strong management team, because it's critical. You need to define your core values. Who you are as a person, it almost never changes. But these are important because this is how you want your managers to make decisions in your business based on your core values, not their own. You need to ensure your team is executing on Restaurant 101. Hot food hot, cold food cold, clean, safe work environment for the guest employees, wow customer service, incredible product, and now to go, right? That the products that are leaving your door get to somebody else's door in a quality fashion. Do you have those systems in place to ensure that? Because that's what we were put on this earth to do. Create incredible memories for people, great hospitality. You need to focus on checklists and cash controls. See, after Restaurant 101, before all the big systems, we go right to checklists and cash controls. We create a culture where the details matter. See, checklists allow us to impose our will without being there, ensuring your restaurant runs your way when you're there, but especially when you're not. And the cash controls, like, bottom line is, if you don't care about a penny, you don't care about a guest experience, you don't care about fingerprints on a dish. When you care about every single penny, you care about all the details. These 2 foundational areas, checklists and cash controls, set you up for success after you take care of the guest. Because now we have a culture where the details matter. Now my chef cares about taking inventory accurately on time on a Sunday night. My managers are cutting labor to make sure we get back on budget without giving up on guest satisfaction. You get the picture? You need to define and train your systems, your process, your way. See, there's one way to do things in your business, your way. And everything is a system, a process away. Doesn't matter if it's counting out a bar drawer the same way every single time, or it's doing something like dollars per labor hour worked, a more advanced system. Ordering, recipe cards, inventory, one system, one process, one way, your way. Define your systems, train your systems. Last but not least, you need to be willing to hold your management team accountable. Now, if you listen to past podcasts, I'm sure you've heard me talk about holding your management team accountable before. I've devoted a complete episode just to holding your management team accountable. But as a refresher, I'm going to remind you that if you train your managers on what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when, they demonstrate they've got it back to you. I'm not holding them accountable as a negative. I'm going to hold them answerable. See, they know what their job is, their job. They make a decision to do their job or not, and they're answerable for resulting consequences, positive or negative. But if you don't hold your managers accountable to the systems you put in place, what you train them on, then you've got nothing. They're doing whatever they want. That takes you back to, I've got managers, but nobody seems to do what I need them to do. That starts with you. You need to lead your business. You need to put these things in place. Because I want to remind you of one very important fact. It's extremely important. It's one I've already shared with you. Your success is 100% dependent on the management team you assemble. Hey, that was an awesome episode. I want to thank you for taking the time to take action on building a better, more prosperous restaurant. Before you go, I want to give you these 3 thoughts. 1, by combining leadership and taking action with systems and training being checked by accountability, you are on your way to creating prosperity for you and your restaurant. 2, I have something I need from you. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. By leaving us a review, other restaurant pros seeking out this information are able to find it. I read the reviews, and hearing how this information has benefited you does wonders for me. And 3, if you find any of the discussions helpful, share them. The more restaurant pros who have access to them, the better we become as an industry. For more restaurant resources or to get in contact with me, connect with me at davidscottpeters.com. Be passionate about what you're doing. Be persistent, but more importantly, become better and help everyone around you become better. And your restaurant is going to kick some ass. If you're tired of not being able to leave your restaurant because no one else knows how to run it, I want to make sure you know it doesn't have to be that way. You can leave your restaurant. It is possible to build a team of people who know how you want the restaurant to run. With these trained and responsible people in place, you can give yourself time away. What would you do if you had time away from your restaurant? Would you sleep better? Would your relationships improve? Would you feel more relaxed? These are all things you deserve to experience as a business owner. It's why we own our own businesses. If you would like to learn how to own a restaurant that doesn't depend on you to be successful, click the link in the description to watch a free training course that teaches you exactly what you have to do. Also, be sure to subscribe to get my weekly tips and watch these 2 videos to get more information and guidance for running a successful restaurant.